to the Cards and Comic Show. Welcome back to Cards and Comics. Today I've got truly a giant epic mail day. And it's been a long time coming. I've been saving up some of these cards for quite a while. And honestly, it's such a diverse collection of cards. And there's so many big ones that it's just, I would say please stay tuned because you're going to see a lot of different things because it's pretty crazy. All the different things I've got in this mail day. And we're going to end on vintage as well. So if you like the vintage cards, it'll be at the end. So we'll start with the comic cards because, I'm still collecting different cards. Now, the first up is a sketch card from Bombshells, and this is Poison Ivy. Now, from DC, the three... well, I'd say 5 characters I collect is Death, Poison Ivy, Zatanna, Booster Gold, and Blue Beetle. And I do Harley whenever I get a shot, but she's so popular that I don't look at her too much because her stuff goes a lot higher. Poison Ivy stuff definitely goes a lot cheaper, and Zatanna stuff is super cheap. And Blue Beetle and Booster Gold obviously are even cheaper, so I'm not trying to break the bank here, but this is a really nice sketch. I'm going to go pull it out because there's a little insert here. Andy Bond, who did it in 2018. And this is an artist proof. So for people who are unfamiliar with sketch cards, the way they do it is the artists themselves get paid very little for these cards. What they do is they give them so many blanks to do artist proofs with. And then they can sell the artist proof for however much they can get for it. And so some artists can get a couple $100 for an artist proof if they put a lot of effort and time into it, or they do customs and therefore they make more money doing that than they actually do for the actual pack inserted sketches. So you can see he took a lot more time on this sketch than you normally see in this set because obviously he was going to make more money on this than he would on the one going in the pack because he wants to sell it and make, make more money. So this is definitely high quality, Poison Ivy, and still not a bank breaker from a cost standpoint. Next up is 2 cards. I'll show them at the same time because they're to me, they're two should always go together. And this is Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. This is from the McFarlane toy line. So this is what's interesting about this is these. So if you buy one of the McFarlane toys, and if you go to any toy store, you'll see the DC Universe toy line, which McFarlane Company is doing. And a lot of them now have these cards inserted. And even though they're not overly, let's say, dramatic in terms of design, I like them. I think they're very simple. And the thing about them is that the way they're in the blister packs, you can see they're chipped. Both of them are a little chipped. And also, the seller was definitely a toy seller. So he shipped to me in a top loader without a penny sleeve, and that's always going to be. And then you'll see the damage in that top right there, that little spot. That's a little ding in that upper border for Mr. Gold. But 2 things about this is, A, I would definitely like to get both these cards graded, either at least a 9. I think that 10s are really going to be hard. But I like to put the whole set together. I think this would be a fun set to put together. All the DC Universe cards from the toy line and have a full set because these, to me, look pretty nice. And I think they look very, almost like a throwback for sure. Next up is my one basketball card. I don't collect a lot of basketball, but my wife went to Purdue and we're collecting Jaden Ivey. Had a good start to the season, and I think it's definitely going to be maybe second or third best, pull out of basketball this year, which is awesome. And then just a, kind of a fun insert. Now we're going to be a little weird. We're probably going to, collect Jaden as a Purdue player more than as a, I think a Piston, which a lot of people want the NBA. For me and my wife, we would definitely like to have more of the Purdue stuff. But there you go. And not super expensive, but just kind of a fun card. Moving on to football. Like I said, here is a Panini Redemption from a box of contenders I opened. And I believe this is 2018. So 4 years later, I get my sticker auto of Derwin James. And I believe he is no longer in the NFL. So there you go, a 4-year-old redemption. Took part in a break with my buddy Indy Card Exchange. I like Origin, so I got both the Jags and the Bills in a break. And so I got one hit, I call it big hit. Trayvon Walker, Jumbo Rookie Jersey Auto Redemption. So who knows if I'm going to get that. I got some interesting base cards. So here's James Robinson. This is a numbered to 199. A couple base cards. Here you go. And then one auto. So again, Trayvon Walker. Base auto rookie card. And I don't think these are numbered at all. Still a nice looking card. And then last but not least, James Cook, my only hit as a Bill, unfortunately, was James Cook patch, numbered to 25. So that's what a 2-team NFL break looked like for me. 2 autos and a patch. I don't think it's terrible. Could have been worse for sure. Moving into some really interesting football cards. Some just really nice football cards coming up. We'll start here with 2 players. One is Jerry Rice. So here is just a finest insert, Speed Breakers, not a refractor, but this was part of a lot I bought, and this was not the card I wanted, but it was just a kind of a throw-in. The card I wanted was this card right here, which is the Bowman's Best Cut. Trying to think what year this is like a 96 maybe. And these are really cool, man. Like, for one thing, that whole top part is cut out, so that's a very intricate die cut, and they're very shiny. You can see that. And it's Jerry Rice, and he's a all-time great. So I thought this is really cool to get for, I think it was under $20. Next up is my second one of these I've gotten, because I like this insert set so much. I picked this up because I think it was around $40, and I felt like it was just a steal. And this is the Barry Sanders Zenith Z Team, the original Z Team, and these are just amazing because they have this really cool metallic back as well, almost like a Dufex back. Again, so the front and the back are just cool. Second one of that. So that might be a giveaway in one of my upcoming videos. Who knows? But the big card I picked up in football, in my opinion, was a card I have never owned. And I feel like it was time I get some more of this, because I've been on a big refractor kick. And hopefully you saw my 97 Finest baseball box I opened. And it really made me want to go out and get one of these. And I went ahead and pulled the trigger. 97 Finest Barry Sanders Gold Refractor. Man, it's such a nice card. It is pretty well centered. I mean, it's off top to bottom. Left to right is okay. I think it could 9. So I might send it in just to get graded. I've got my pile to get graded. I think we talked about that in one of my 90s, insert videos. Remember, like I said, I've got this little pile to get graded, and I might throw a battery into there. So I've got the Allegiance Refractor, the Establish, the green Crusade Thomas. I've got the 96 Refractor, the 98 Griffey Crusade, the green, and then actually this was not one of the cards that's going to get graded. So I might throw this card in as another card to get graded, because I just feel like these are really nice 90s inserts, and throwing a Griffey in there would be really a lot of fun. So we shall see if I throw the Sanders in there. I got so many cards to get graded that I can't do them all for the pricing. I got to do them in waves and stages, and so I got to figure out when that one's going. But that's definitely a card I'm going to get graded because, again, it's just better off to have it graded, preserved, and if I need to sell it in the future, it would make it much easier. So moving on to baseball. So I've got, Griffey's and Vintage, so that's coming up. But, I've gotten stuck on certain sets. This new Pinnacle Artist Proof set is just really in my head. And I think I've been picking up cards whenever they come up for like under $5. So here's the Matt Lawton Red. Again, I just picked it up because I'm thinking about doing something stupid and putting a whole set together. And you heard me saying like, well, I may want to do the whole set of, linchpins. I may want to do the whole set of Crusades. And, now I'm talking about a whole set of this. I'm actually getting into the set collecting idea that as the value of cards is kind of like taking, this kind of up and down trajectory. My thought is that maybe I would, put some sets together. And I don't know how many people have this set. I can't imagine it's a lot, but it'd be kind of fun to dig through common boxes or dollar boxes and pull out these kind of inserts and see if I can get the set put together. I've got the Griffey and I've got the Thomas. So, I got two of the harder cards. Again, another card in my futile attempt at putting the 93 Finest set together. Carlos Baeger. So this is definitely a mid-tier, especially in this time period. This guy was a star at this time. He fizzled out a little bit before he could be a Hall of Famer, but definitely a really good player for a lot of years. And I felt like this card is, again, I buy these in 8s usually because it's very economical. And can't wait to, continue to put this set together because, again, it's a lot more fun to just, put together sets sometimes when the, prices are so high on some things and dropping on others that you can just, spend $20 or $40 and get cards you need for something that you're building. And you feel like you're, still collecting and accomplishing something. Next up is Ovation. So this is a 1999 Ovation. And this one is the gold. And these are pretty tough to see. You can see the little foil in the background is gold. And they're numbered to 500. You can see that. So, again, I think these are some very interesting inserts because we're seeing a huge spike in Griffey inserts numbered to 100 or below. And is it cooled off a little bit? I don't think so because they don't come up for sale enough to really cool off. But I think the second tier of inserts numbered, let's say from 100 to 500 could go up in value eventually. Who knows? I don't have this card, so it's for my collection. So it's not really an investment spec, but I do think these kind of cards are going to eventually get harder and harder to find, just like the number to 100 cards are becoming basically hobby. I would call them like grails for a lot of collectors now. Any Griffey card from 99 or before that's numbered to 100 or lower has become just a grail card because they're becoming just impossible to find. Now next up is a 2000 Skybox EX, the Exceptional. This is the red one. So I showed off I believe the green one in one of my 90s videos where I talked about Griffey. That's really cool. As again, these are the closest thing you're going to get to a jambalaya for Ken Griffey Jr. Remember that for whatever reason, Skybox Metal did not include jambalayas for baseball. Just like they didn't include the original PMGs for baseball in 97. They did not have jambalayas either. So it's one of those really big missed opportunities that you go back and look and like, wow, how come hockey and football has them, but in basketball, but baseball doesn't? It's just very interesting that baseball didn't, in the same way that you don't have a jambalaya of Griffey as a Mariner. Missed opportunity, but this is as close you're going to get. Number to 199. Still cool looking cards. Next up is Fleer Tradition. This is a pretty tough insert. I believe these are like 1 in 300 or something. It is the Fleer Zone. Look at that card. Pretty sweet. Really shiny. SGC 9.5. It's got one little tick on that upper corner. So I don't think this card would grade a 10 by PSA. So I think this is, it's just a really nice card. I mean, it's got cool shininess to it. It's just a really fun card. And it's pretty rare. And I've seen it sell a few times in the last couple months. So it's, not, exceedingly hard, but it's one of those fun cards you get and you're like, wow. I'm glad I have that card now in my collection. So this is the 98 zone. I believe I have the 97 as well. So I forget how many years they did them, but I've got at least two of the years. And finally, for my Griffey collection, I did post this on my Instagram, but I wanted just to show it off again in my mail day. I mentioned in the last video that I thought that the Allegiance refractor, which is one of those 100 refractors cards from Griffey, might be my last big Griffey pickup, but this came up, and actually, this was a buy it now, or a best offer card, and I was surprised the guy took it a best offer because this card just sold as a 9 over $2,000, and so I got it at a pretty good price, even though it's an 8. But looking at it, this card just looks nice. It's not, for an 8, it's not horrible. It's not off-center to the point where it's noticeable or it really detracts. It's super shiny, super clean. There isn't anything about it that I just hate or don't like, where I'm like, because there are some cards that are 7s and 8s where there's a flaw, like a mark across his face, or, something like a really bad ding corner where you can just look at it and go like, it's got that, thing. But this doesn't really have that thing, it doesn't have something where I look at it and go like, I don't like that. It's just a nice card. It's an 8, but it's probably neat because it has a scratch somewhere on it. But it's everywhere else. It's pretty nice card. So to me, this is good enough. I don't need a 9 or 10. I'm I think 1 or 2 cards away. I said 1, but I think I might be 2 cards away from, because the 99 Finest set, the 99 Finest set has 2 base Griffies, I think, and so I've got one of them, but the other one I have it as a gold. I don't have it as a base. So I still need one of the base refractors from 99 Finest, and I need the 94 Finest refractor as well. So I'm down to 2 base refractors from, so I'd have every base Griffey refractor from 93 to 2000. If I can get the 94 and the 99 card. So I'm 2 cards away. Pretty exciting. And this includes Chrome as well. So all Finest and Chrome cards. All right, on to vintage. Now this is the biggest vintage day I've had in a very long time. And it's just, I made a trade with a deal, a cash trade deal. And the first card does violate one of my golden rules, but it was part of a deal, and I went ahead and pulled it. But this is definitely not a card I would have normally have traded for. But it's a 70 Nolan Ryan. I don't have this card, so I was happy to get it. But it is off center, left to right, more than I would like normally. So it's going to go into my trade fodder, or, it might just be a placeholder again, until I can get a better centered copy, or an 8.5. Hey, we can all dream, right? There you go. It's not a terrible, you can see it's an older graded card. It's a little faded on the back as well, so it doesn't have a bright back. So that's the second kind of thing about it. So it's definitely an older graded, you can see it's before the half grade. So I don't really, love the card, but it was part of the deal, because you'll see some other cards that I've gotten in the deal that made it, made me want to pull the trigger. But yeah, that was not, the nicest 8. But, the next card in the deal was definitely To me, a good card, even though it's slightly off center, a little bit, but it's the 71 Hank Aaron 8. I think it's still a nice looking card. It presents very well. It's definitely not as OC as Aaron was, or sorry, the Ryan was. I don't have this as an 8, so this is my. I haven't owned this card very often as an 8. I think I may have had it one other time. I have, I think, 2 7s of it right now. As I've graded a few cards, or I bought cards and to get an 8, and never worked out. So now I own an 8, and I'm just gonna keep it. Unless an 8.5 or a really perfectly centered copy comes up, I'm just gonna keep this one. I have it now, so now I can sell the 7s. I can or trade them or whatever, and just keep this 8. And then again, if I can upgrade it, I will. But the only thing really wrong with it, because it's got perfect, to me, not centering, sorry, perfect edges, slight white tips, to the corners, but from a, and color and gloss, it's really nice too. So it's technically a really nice card. Again, just a little off center, but I think it definitely is one I would keep in the old personal collection, and definitely make it, part of the Aaron, set run. Now, this next card is not part of the deal, but I'm going in chronological order here. This is a 53 Roy Campanella, and this does fit into my category of what I look for when I look at vintage cards. The reason why I pulled the trigger on this Campanella is because it's so well centered. I'm looking at this corner here, top right. It's got a little bit, you can see a little bit of damage. And I'm just kind of looking at the card saying, like, it's a 6, so it's got to have something more to it than just that. Look on the back, again, it had to go through the eBay authentication process, which is a joke. Looking on the back, it has a little bit of staining right there. So that's probably what got it, was that little bit right there. But, that means technically it's probably closer to a 7 or an 8 than it is a 6. But that little bit of staining on the back, which I don't care about the back quite as much. That little spot doesn't really bother me, honestly, on a card like this, because I got it at such a good deal. It presents itself so well. So it's just a beautiful card. It's one of those cards I've always enjoyed. 53 Bowmans to me are, and generally for any player from that set, they're one of their nicest cards. It's like the Spawn, the Feller, those, I won't call them, they're not Mays and Mano, but they're definitely awesome Hall of Famers. And Eddie Matthews, those are some of the nicer cards they ever had. And so 53 Bowman, cards are just, special. And this card is a really nice 6. And so I'm glad I was able to get it. And the last card was part of the deal. It's the card I was after. I've owned this card before, but this is the highest grade I've had. Personally, my dad actually had a 7 in this card at one point. And that was, he had the Fox in this card, a 7. So they tell you she's a 33 Gaudy. And here it is. This is a 33 Gaudy Dizzy Dean PSA 5. I've never owned this card. I've had a 4. I've had a 3, but I've ended up trading those away. This is a 5, and again, it's a little off center, but I don't care as much about centering on these cards because they have such thin borders, right? I care a whole lot about the image because it can be very fuzzy and out of focus, and color. Color's nice. It's in focus. Again, a little off center, but it's a 5. What do you expect? The back is very nice. We don't see the color, the double hit on the color. So that, to me, the bleed through, whatever you want to call it, just a really nice 5. It's, it's one of those things where, in the card world, you're not going to, the centering isn't going to really degrade from this card because of, it's a 5. It looks, really nice. It still has some really nice whiteness to the borders, good color. And so it's just got a lot going for it visually, even though it's a little off center. So I feel like this one definitely met my criteria as well as a keeper. And again, it's the highest grade I've had ever in this card. And, getting these cards like this is just so fun. And to be able to do a kind of cash trade deal to get it, it worked out. I'm hoping to do this more often. As I like to add more vintage cards to the collection, this is the easiest way to do it sometimes. But yeah, purchasing cards, buying cards works as well. So again, I've got a few more deals and cards I bought coming in. And you'll be seeing those coming up pretty soon. So, and I've got some more vintage cards I'll be getting in hopefully the next week or so. And so I'll be showing those off as part of my mail day. But last card up, Dizzy Dean, St. Louis Cardinals, Hall of Famer, one of the big cards in this set. I was able to get it done, so I'm excited. And there you go. That's the mail day. Hope you guys liked it. Pretty eclectic, pretty wild for my for my standards. So let me know what your favorite card was in the comments, and I'll see you next time on Cards and Comics. Bye.